Hey y'all, Erin Zachary with Brokerage Realty Services and Easy Realty Group here. I just want to come on, say hello, see how everyone's doing, and also let you know about a video series I'm going to be doing called What the Heck Are All Those Forms Anyway? So I just had a meeting with a potential buyer. I handed her a pack like this. I don't know if you can see that. That's a lot of papers, okay? This is a potential buyer. This doesn't even include the home search. So real estate agents, take on a lot of responsibility when we handle your case, and we're happy to do so because at least I am passionate about my clients and what they want to find in a home or why they need to sell their home and how we can help them do that. Either way, it's my job to represent them, and in representing them, there are always forms that need to be filled out to protect the clients and protect myself, since we do take on so much responsibility, and it's a huge fiduciary duty that we have to our clients. So I just wanted to take a minute and go over one of the forms today, and then we'll be going over some more forms later. So these forms right here are for a buyer, or for a buyer, okay? The sellers will have some similar forms as well. The first form that you should always get from your realtor, or even just an agent that you talk to, is called Information About Brokerage Services form. See that right there? Okay, so the thing with this form, and is that backwards on y'all's screen? I can't tell. Anyway, the thing about this form is that it doesn't commit you to anything. We are required to have it initialed by anyone we speak to about representing them either as a seller, or if we're even just talking to somebody about a house they're interested in, guys, we're supposed to have this initialed. It would help us out greatly if you could do that, so we don't have to keep all these crazy records about so-and-so wouldn't initial for whatever reason. But let me tell you why this form is not scary, okay? This form just gives you information. Okay, this does not lock you into a contract with a specific realtor, none of those things. Basically, all this form does, it's called, again, the IABS form. I think it's backwards. I'm so sorry for that. I don't know why this camera does things backwards, but I'll try to fix it for next time. Basically, it tells you in this first one exactly who a broker is versus who a sales agent is. So the broker is basically responsible for all of the sales people or the real estate agents or licensees activities. So if I do something that gets me in trouble, it also gets my broker in trouble. He doesn't like that very much, so we try to avoid that. Okay, the next one tells you the broker's minimum duties. Okay, so the minimum things you can expect from your broker at all times. Now, if your broker is not meeting these minimum standards, guess what? You can call Trek, you can report. However, I would appreciate if you give us a call first and let us figure out how to fix it. This doesn't happen with our brokerage. And also, it gives you the agent responsibility. Okay, so it tells you what I am supposed to do to you for you as a real estate agent. Now, I'm also a licensed realtor, which means I am held to a higher code of ethics than just a licensed agent. So make sure you know the difference. Always hire a realtor, someone that can use that trademark, because we have a higher code of ethics that we have to adhere to that's different from just a licensed agent. Okay. The next one is saying that we can work as an agent for a seller, what we can do to work as an agent for a buyer. Okay, and then what we can do if we represent both. So I want to show you guys something, and again, I'm sorry if it's backwards. I'll try to attach it for you so you can see it. But there's different ways we can represent people, of course. Okay, so here is one way. The broker is in charge of course, the agents. So if the same brokerage has both the buyer and the seller for a certain property, this is what you want to see. You want to see an agent that represents the seller and an agent that represents the buyer, okay? Because then we can give advice to these people prospectively, all right? You never, ever, unless you trust them dearly with all of your money and all of your life, want to have an agent that represents the seller and the buyer for the same property. And the reason I say that is there's just too many confidential things we deal with. You don't want to accidentally let somebody in on a secret you knew about the seller, or you don't want to let the seller know a secret you knew about the buyer, things like that. Plus, if we do it this way, the agent is not allowed to give any advice for the buyer or the seller. All they can do is fill out forms and contracts and not give any advice at all. And that's not how you want to be represented. You want to make sure your realtor or your agent is giving you solid, sound advice. All right, so that's what that basically states in this paragraph, is know what it means if you have an intermediary. That means one agent representing both people, or separate agents in the same brokerage representing the same house. Okay, this right here is also important. This is talking about a sub-agent. Y'all, that's so backwards. I'm so sorry. All right, a sub-agent is basically a license holder who is operating without a buyer representation agreement. That's just to protect everybody involved here, okay? In case you didn't know, the seller is the person who pays the buyer's agent's commission. So, buyers, you get a realtor basically for free. I mean, who doesn't like free, right? So, but if we don't have a signed agreement in place, the seller can keep all of that commission for themselves, or the seller's agent can, which cuts us out of the loop, which is kind of unfair. All right, so we want to make sure that if we are writing a contract for you, that we have an actual representation agreement between the two of us. We'll get into that agreement later. Then this little paragraph right here just basically says we're not going to run around suing each other, that if something is wrong, then we're going to agree to mediate before we throw around lawsuits, okay? Nobody likes to get sued. I know everybody is sue happy right now. And a lot of times it's a mistake that can be corrected in like 2 seconds, and it's not even an issue. So if you just talk to your realtor or your broker or whoever represents you, if an issue comes up, we can stay ahead of it. And 99% of the time, nothing will go wrong that you might need to worry about suing someone, okay? This last part right here just says that this is provided for your information only, and it does not lock you into an agreement, okay? The other important information it gives you is the broker's information, the company information, and your realtor's information and all of their license numbers, okay? So that's important if you need to call and get a hold of somebody, if you want to look stuff up about your realtor, see how they're doing, things like that. So this first episode of what in the heck are all these forms for anyway, right, is just about the information about brokerage services. If you see 3 different realtors about 3 different homes, you're going to initial 3 different ones of these. It's okay. All right. You have not locked in anything. You don't owe loyalty to anybody. Although I hope if you met me, you would decide to like me and stay with me as a client. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.